come on now. Keith, it's me.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
And we are live on the air.
Awesome, man.
Oh, so what do you got coming up in San Jose?
Well, I was looking for a venue to hold this new band that I got going, which is myself, Dave Lauser from Sammy Hager's solo band, and Mona from MONTROSE-WABOS. We put a band together because we want to keep the Montrose music alive and keep playing it. Those two played with Ronnie and I back in the day. The first time I played with those guys was back in 2006. So now Dave and I were talking and saying, hey, man, let's see if we can't put something cool together to play some of that badass music for the fans.
Right.
So that's what we did. That was about 6 weeks ago. Now we got our first gig coming up. I found this guy who has been throwing rock shows out of this place called SJ Live, which can hold us. It has about an 1,100 capacity because the Rock Bar closed down.
Right.
So I found that, and we put this show together, and now we're just trying to promote it and get it off the ground, and that's why we're here.
Now, how many bands are going to be there that night? And when is the show?
I believe there's two other bands. Direct support is a band called Bad Boy Eddie.
Nice.
Which, yeah, a lot of cats, including yourself, familiar with, I know. So I'm looking forward to watching them, actually.
You will love the show, and those guys are great. They've been in here in the studio a few times, and you'll like that show.
Cool. Looking forward. I'm definitely going to see the show.
Well, now, how did you get hooked up many years ago with Ronnie Montrose? Arguably one of the best that have ever been in the genre at all. And his music, you know, was on the hardcore, heavy rock and roll. And then he started going into different areas where, you know, it was like after he got done in one segment, he started trying to go a different segment. Hell of a player.
Hell of a player. And, you know, legendary. I mean, he's like the American Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton. You know, he's that guy. The thing about Ronnie is he's always had that diehard artist drive where it was very important to him to make different artistic statements that were on his mind at the time, regardless of what was happening on the sort of roller coaster of success or not in his career. I got to respect that. You know, he was bold about his choices, and I know, you know, way back when him and Sam had their differences, because Montrose seemed like it was really on the up and up and going places fast, and then Ronnie had a new musical concept that he wanted to introduce to the world. What happened is history. Right. But and the way I met him, I was doing something with my band Burning Rain, a band that I have with Doug Aldrich, you know, from Whitesnake and Dio. And we were doing our first record for Pony Canyon in Japan, and we needed a session keyboard player. And the guy that came in, a really, really sweet, wonderful guy by the name of Ed Roth, happened to be a guy who also worked with Ronnie. And not only worked with him, but those guys were kindred spirit friends for a long time. Ed knew that Ronnie was looking for some new blood and really wanted to turn over a new leaf. It wasn't necessarily going to be Montrose at that time. It was just getting together with a singer to write some new songs.
Right.
So he said to me, hey, you know, I don't know if you know about this cat. So anyway, Ed puts us together. Ronnie had just been on the back end of a divorce, so he was definitely in an artistic place, you know, feeling all those vibes and those emotions that usually lead to great, great songs. And we just got together, I don't know, it was about a good year and a half of just getting together and writing songs over his place and my place, banging out drum beats on our laps and playing on acoustics and little practice amps and doing all that kind of stuff. And he happened to get approached by Steve Miller's manager, a guy by the name of Scott Barret, who was a big Ronnie fan, also grew up in the Bay Area. And Scott wanted to make a new Montrose. He wanted Ronnie's like, you want to do a new record, you know, revive this thing and get up and going. And then Ronnie called me up and said, hey, I want to play you some of this old stuff that I did, see how you feel about it, and see if you want to take a crack at singing it. I think your voice would really work on this stuff. That's what we did. We got in a studio with a drummer and a bass player up here at Leeds in North Hollywood. That was it. My voice just kind of seemed to work well, and that started the new, later, quote-unquote, Montrose. That's how we met, man.
The show that you got going on is July 22nd at SJ Live, which is 8 South 1st Street in San Jose. Doors open at 8 o'clock for that show. Are you guys going to start touring quite a bit now, or was.
We will. We're going to do some more test shows this summer. I say test shows because, we got to test the material out the way we're bringing it across. We're definitely going to play the Great Eight, and, our first thing is to really honor this Montrose material, the old stuff again, but we're going to do something I've never done before, and we're going to play some Sammy Hagar material, but we're going to play some old vintage stuff.
Well, now
it might be stuff Sam doesn't play that often on tour anymore.
Right, and the billing for this show shows that you'll be performing the first Montrose early album, Hagar and More. Out of the particular lineup of the set that you have, what's one of your favorite?
Oh, geez, man. Every one of those songs means something to me and has had great vibes and has had its particular audience or region of the country or whatever where certain songs really go over well. I gravitated towards I Got the Fire kind of right off the bat when we first played the stuff down at Leeds all those years ago. And Make It Last, I can think of magic moments all over the world playing that thing where it just, that's a sing-along song where the audience might just sing along with the whole song, verses, choruses, everything, and it turns it into a big party.
Speaking of big parties and Hagar and all that, and the Wabos, you headed down for a little Cabo deal anytime soon and getting some of that Cabo Wabo tequila?
Well, ironically, that's the first time I played with Dave and Mona was on a Cabo cruise back in '06. That's the first time we played together. Hopefully this act that we got going here will stand up on its own as a thing, and maybe we can fill in some gaps for Redhead fans and play some of that old music down there. We're going to test the waters and see where this thing can go, and certain information will be released accordingly. And hopefully we'll be able to bring some of this great music that we love so much, out to some people who appreciate it. The guitar player I have doing this with us is Mitch Perry, who is a friend, and he is really, really in that vibe of what was happening in the 70s in rock. And, he played with Edgar Winter for 9 years. He's jammed, Space Station and Rock Candy and all those songs with me on different jams around the Hollywood scene, and he just kills on this stuff. So
the great players will always be great players. There might be a few little skips in the record here and there when you get started, but once you get going, it'll be old hat, and you guys will just click and go.
Oh, yeah. That's what I loved about Montrose, and that's what kept me true to Ronnie all those years. From the beginning with him, he's a big fan of everybody listening, everybody showing up. It's going to be a little different every night. Kind of like what the dream was, for the Zeppelin thing back in the day when they put out Song Remains the Same. Ronnie really, he just had that gift, man. He could just listen and guide and know how much each other player was listening and move accordingly.
Montrose-WABOS Experience is how it's being billed. July 22nd, SJ Live. 8 South 1st Street, San Jose, California. Doors open at 8 o'clock. And Keith, it's one of those deals. When you guys get something laid down and recorded, please keep me in the loop. Get me some of this music, and we'll promote it. And we'll get it promoted and played here. And Bill Stallings just said, I'll definitely play it as well. So
you guys are one of the first people that are coming to us and saying, "Hey, man, come on our show. We want to promote it." So
absolutely,
right back at you. We'll do everything we can to promote you guys. Well,
Keith St. John, Montrose-WABOS, they will be San Jose, the 22nd.
Yeah, come down to the show. Get there early. It's going to be 1,000 people there. So get there early. Check out Bad Boy Eddie. They're an amazing band from what I hear, and get a spot. Get a spot up by us so I can see you and I can hear you.
July 22nd, SJ Live, 8 South 1st Street, San Jose. Doors open at 8 o'clock.
Right
Keith St. John, thank you so much for joining me.
If they keep watching, pay attention to your show, pay attention to what we're putting out on the social media.
Well, anytime you need any airtime, Bill Stallings is always here after me from 5 till whatever the hell time he decides he's going to leave.
Killer, my brother. And next time up there, let's hit the high Sierras, do some fishing, my friend.
I'm ready. Let's do a little rock candy from Montrose, shall we?
Rock on, brother. Sounds good.
All right. Rock candy, Keith St. John, San
Yo,
Jose. All right. Little rock candy Montrose. Nice.